Hello, greetings to everybody who's joined us. This is the first Unity Project Sheffield podcast with myself, Gavin Griffiths, and co-host Kevin Scott. We're here just to talk to you a bit about ourselves, about what we do and what we're aiming for. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. We'll first start off by giving a brief introduction about who we are and what we're about. All right.
All right, my life. Greetings all. My name's Kevin Scott. I am the founder of Unity Project Sheffield, and I'm proud to be part of this podcast, proud to be part of this movement, proud to be part of this group of people. There is 7 members of the group, including me and Gavin. One of the members is, well, let me tell you the 7 members. We've got Naisha, we've got Ron McKenzie, we've got Benty, we've got Menace, we've got Jezreen Clark, and obviously we've got myself and we've got Gavin. So that's the core team, that's the core 7. Everyone's got their own different tasks and their own different roles. We all play an essential part in the organization. And I just want to use this opportunity to say thank you to all 7 members for helping me put this project together and helping me realize this dream. Like, they've shown me so much love. It's unbelievable. So I just want to say mad thank you to this group of good people. Trust me.
So Kevin, I'd like to ask you, so why did you decide to bring us together to form this group? And what was your motivation for the Unity Project Sheffield?
Would that come under the who are we? Why?
Yeah, who are we? Why are we? What are we?
Woo, it's a lot of questions here. I feel like I'll be an interview. Basically, I mean, everybody already knows, or should I say, a lot of people know that this started off from a rant on Facebook, and then it grew onto the point where next minute I was on Radio Sheffield, and then it grew even further till, I was getting emails and text messages, people saying, I'd love to help and I want to be a part of this movement. And so I literally decided to hold a meeting. Big shouts out to Zest and all the people behind that, Lloyd, who managed to get me that property for the evening, because he really believed in what we were doing and he gave us the opportunity. And then ever since that meeting, the group was formed by the people who attended that first annual meeting that we had at Zest. And the why, I've been thinking about the why, and the why is simply because we are members of the Black community and we care. Like, I think that is the simple brunt of it. People that actually care enough to want to do something about the situation came forward, and that's who we've got on the team right now. People that care and want to do something. Now, what we are is, that's all we are. We're a group of caring community members that are also parents with young people that are also community members. And, we just want to try and make a difference. When we got together, we wasn't 100% sure what difference we could make, but we just know that we wanted to, at the very least, try. If we fail, then we fail. But I think that is the general who, why, and what. We are a group of community parents that basically want to try to inspire some change within our community. And we want to do that in a united fashion, hence why we're called Unity Project Sheffield. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. For me personally also, it was similar things to what you say. I'm part of the community. I want our community to prosper. The young people, there's a lot of negativity around them and around at the moment. There's not a lot of hope, and I'd like to give back something back. So that was mainly for a lot of my motivation in getting involved in this. And obviously, I've known you for a long time, brother. So
yes, sir.
Like-minded people usually come together, and so
yes, sir.
This is why I'm personally involved. And I think that's a lot. What you've said encompasses all of us who's here. We all want to make a change, and we start with ourselves, not with everybody else. So yeah.
Basically, yeah. And plus that image as well there, look at that image, that just, inspired me. That's Music in the Sun, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now that does bring back some serious memories, all them tents and, Arthur Sheffield turned up. That was basically our carnival at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Sheffield's never really had a big carnival, so to speak, but that was our carnival. And where is it now?
It's gone, but I think a lot of the members of our group and a lot of the people that are interested in this movement can remember times like these, like Music in the Sun, and like it says, they remember community centers like the Hub and Everyone Center and Ellesmere. And the truth is, if we're being really, really honest, like, yeah, bad things happened in the past. We're not going to say that it was all rosy and it was all sweet, but especially as kids, we all had a damn good time.
Definitely.
All of these places, we had a damn good time at the Hub. We had a damn good time at Music in the Sun, Everyone Center, all of them. And that's all we've got really from these places. It's fond memories. Do you know what I mean? And we want the young people to basically be able to have the same fond memories. Yeah, for them to be able to come together in a place. Because remember, the difference between now is everywhere we used to go then. So, for example, when we used to go to the Hub, when we used to go to Music in the Sun, when we used to go to Everyone Center, it was a Black community, and you felt a part of that Black community. Yeah. And it wasn't, it wasn't nobody felt fear or threatened to be a part of that group. It's like you was automatically welcomed. And I think that is something what is missing from today's community. And, some of us want to try and, I won't say bring it back because we don't want to go back to the past, but, we want to try to improve the future.
Yep. Which is true. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Them days, I have very fond memories of them days. Yeah, and in fairness, my children never really got to experience what we got to experience on them levels. So they don't necessarily, they saw the end of it, so to speak, because my children are grown now. So they saw the end of it. But for the younger generation, that community, that knowing each other, knowing everyone, that seems to have disappeared. So I used to walk around the road, know everybody's family, know everybody. My kids, they knew people, but not as much. So that bond, that unity is not there. And we have to, that's for me, we want to try and instill that back. So everybody knows everyone treats each other like family, because we are family.
Yeah, it's not carried over to the next generation, as it is basically what we're saying. So as a community, we know everybody. But when it comes to the next generation, these younger ones, they don't know everybody. And technically what we're saying is they should. There's no reason why they shouldn't. I mean, let's be honest here. This is probably a good point, This is the best point. I've known you since I was a little kid. Do you know what I mean? Ramping in park and all them something there.
Yes.
And I consider you my brother. And we've grown. You know what I mean? We've grown together. I even went to the same school as you. God damn it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if my daughter was to see your son, she would know who he is.
Yeah. Not from mine and your relationship and them knowing each other from young, no.
which that in itself tells its own
shameful.
stories on it, because me
It's
and you are
shameful,
close,
really.
and yeah, and our kids don't know each other.
Yeah. And
so can you imagine for the wider community now?
On that same point, yeah, what will happen is that my son or your daughter will come and mention your daughter or my son to you or to me. Yeah, so, oh, do you know that kid there? He says he knows you or he knows your. Do you understand? And that's how. Oh yeah, that's my brethren's daughter. Or do you know what I mean? That's how we find out nowadays. Not like, oh yeah, how it used to be where our parents would know each other and would socialize with each other, which would in turn allow us to socialize because we would be taken everywhere, especially with our mothers anyway.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
No, I agree, bro. So when it says the next one says focusing on the positives and so what has changed for the negative. So let's start with the negative so we can get that out of the way, because we always want to be on a positive tip.
Well, we were discussing briefly what we said before, negatives, that community knowing each other hasn't passed down. It's not followed on. So as you said, our children don't know who's who.
No. Yeah. And you know something? This is a very important question here, right? Because people seem to think that all these little things don't matter, and in actuality, they more than matter. So I had a discussion with somebody, and they was basically identified the fact that African kids do much better in class in school than Jamaican kids. And then when we asked, why do you think that is? Like the answer was like, well, it's cultural differences. And clearly the Africans have got a lot more culture than us, and they have a lot more family values and unity than us, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So this is why their kids are prospering in school. So we don't think that these little things matter, when in actuality, they're actually the very ingredients what's needed for success. Do you know what I mean? And plus, you touched on it before saying that, and I said this to you the other day when I was like, no one can love you until you love yourself.
Yeah.
And like you said, you definitely cannot love others until you love yourself.
Yeah.
And so as a community, as a people, I know we've got a lot of differences, and I know this man over there will say, oh, I can't tandem people, and me not like that boy, because, but the truth is, you know what I mean? We there has to be unity. We have to come together. We have to love and respect our own community, because if you don't, then how can you expect anybody else to respect it?
Definitely, I 100% agree. And that's it. So back onto this negative changing, yeah. So like we said, from that knowing each other, the community, I'll say that's a negative. Yeah. I'll say another negative is as in, I know people always seem to bang on about these things like youth clubs and things like that. Yeah. But for me, the Hub and Fir Park and certain other places where there were youth clubs was important for me as a child. It gave me that so-called freedom away from the parents. It gave me that social skills, community, and we had things to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Occupied our time. You know what I mean? Devil makes work of idle hands, so to say. So I would note that as a negative also. I think there's many negatives.
Yeah, but I think the main negative is we find every excuse not to unify and not to love ourselves. Because one of the first things what we'll say is, well, let's be honest here, a lot of black people don't trust black people. And they've got a lot of bad things to say about black people. 100%. And that is obviously where it needs to, again, it's that self-hatred, isn't it? Like if I keep telling myself I'm ugly and I'm mash up and I'm this and I'm that, then it's going to be very hard for somebody to come and find me attractive, even if I am attractive.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that I think that is one of the major issues. And I think another thing what plays into that is ego and pride.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that some people have got, like, I understand that if you've had violence with somebody else, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to ever be friends with that person or, you know, interact with that person. Like, I don't know, if someone stabbed your brother or shot your cousin, then you don't want to be gnashing teeth with that person or befriending that person. But that said, that aside, people have got a lot of ego to the point where, like I said, they don't want to talk to that person, or they don't want to work with this group of people, or even area codes, or they're from Square and we're from Pitchmore, so we can't par with them, we can't mix with them. These are all separations, aren't they? Just different reasons why we can't come together.
We've got so many different excuses, of why we can't or why we don't want to trust each other. And that's another reason why this group, and hopefully this group, can help us build trust among the community and amongst each other, because we all trust each other in this group. And since we've known each other anyway, I've had no reason not to trust you. You've not shown me no reason not to trust you. And I trust you, like you said, you're my brother. And everybody in this group, I trust also. And I'm willing, and I know you're willing, to trust the community. And that's what we want. And we're putting our trust out there, and we believe in the community that we can change things for ourselves.
I'm putting my trust in like-minded individuals. I'm not putting my trust in the community, because at this current time, until we can do some sorting out and some organizing, there are devils in the community. And if we could deny that, then we'd be...
No, we can't. There's devils everywhere, as you say, isn't it? Yeah. But I'm letting the community know that I'm putting trust in them, and I'm hoping they're going to put trust in us.
I hope so. Well, I'm sure that anybody who can see the vision and see what needs to be done. I mean, to be honest with you, one of the first things that needs to be done anyway is we need to come together. And I was having this discussion. I think you was there. You was present with somebody else when I was saying, look, right, if you're in a competition, or if you're in a, if you're in a sport, or I think I use boxing as the analogy. Like, if you're in the boxing ring now and you're competing against another person, if that person is broken you up, smashing you down, giving you some proper lick, you can't ask him for help. If you ask your opponent for help, especially in the ring, that is a sign of weakness, and this guy is just going to beat you up even worse. The more you start moaning and complaining that you need help, the more his confidence is going to grow, and the more he's just going to beat you up in the ring. Now, what you're supposed to do, I mean, there's many different things you can do, isn't there? Like, some people would say, get up, fight back, try your best, fight until he knocks you out. Or some people would say, if you lose, the man thing to do is take your loss, go home, figure out what you did wrong, where you went wrong, improve it, and come back in the rematch and win the guy, like Anthony Joshua did. But the last thing on earth, what you can do is go crying to your opponent for help.
And sympathy.
And sympathy. And basically, in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, that's where we are, aren't we? We're in that position. And
we're getting broke up, and we're saying it to everybody, help me. But I don't think we realize this is a competition. This is, you're actually embarrassing yourself asking for help.
As you were saying the other day, it's a race, isn't it? Human race.
Human race, yeah.
And currently we're at the back of the grid. Yeah. That don't mean that we can't catch up and think, but currently we're at the back. Yeah. And
that brings on to the positives. Because what are the positives? The positives are sport, I'm glad I used sport as an analogy. Sport has showed us as an analogy that when we focus on things and when we have passion and heart and desire, then we become quite an unstoppable force, to be fair. And one definite positive about our community and the people in our community is we are capable, more than capable. You know what I mean? It's just, we dig deep enough to do what needs to be done? But the talent is there, because as we know, Black people are naturally blessed and talented, and there's a whole array of, different abilities and skills in the community.
And that's another positive, like I said, there's a whole array of skills and people from the community that have progressed to places where maybe that the older generation didn't progress to. Yeah. So there's more opportunities, in that aspect. Yeah. So as a community, there are people in our community in better positions. Yeah. And with, like, for instance, with trades and with skills, like you were saying before, or that have achieved certain things, what maybe has been portrayed as unachievable to us as a community in the past. Yeah. So these are positive. So we have got role models out there. And I think that's the thing what we have to do as well. We have to advertise them role models and put them role models up so that they're there for the community to see that there's different ways and different outlets for us to move forward and to progress. Because that's what it's about progression. Yeah. And we need to progress. So
desperately. But there is a lot of positives. I think there's actually more positives than negatives. But as we know, this is a war of the mind. And it's for your mind to be able to see those positives and see what we are capable of and what we can achieve and what we have achieved. Because as well, that's a good thing. What the past is served for is to remind you that you have done wonderful things on this planet before, which means you can do it again. Yeah, which is just the evidence to any of the doubters that say, oh, we can't, this and this. Like, no, we've done it before, we could do it again. And this time we're actually in a much better position, because look at even technology and YouTube and things like these podcasts. Like, now we're able to communicate in ways that we could never communicate before. And now we're allowed to have our own spaces, our own platforms, our own conversations. There isn't any barriers preventing us from actually doing what needs to be done. So, like, in the past, there were times where certain doors were closed off to Black people and certain opportunities wasn't available for Black people. But we're not in those times anymore. Like, nothing's restricting us except for us. Yeah. And that's why I said it's a mind game, because the second you get your mind right, then the whole entire game changes. And I know what I mean by that. Like, I'm a man, I play badminton, or I used to before I got injured. But when I used to play badminton, right, I had certain games where it's like, I might go into the game even thinking that I could win, basically. So I'm not really giving it my full attention or my full, I'm just playing in autopilot. And then the game, badminton, you win when you get to 21. I've been at like some ridiculous scores where I'm losing like 15-3. And things are looking really bad. Shots are going all over the place. I'm making all kinds of mistakes. Everything's going wrong. But then I get to this point where I'm like, I can see the loss coming closer and closer. And I don't like to lose. Do you understand? Yeah. So I'll get my head right and start saying, like, right now, Kevin, come on. Now it's time to stop messing about. It's time to get your head right, because you actually want to win this game. And I've come back from that 15-3 to beat the person. In fact, to tell you the truth, I've come back from scores worse than that. I've come back from all 18, whatever. Like, this guy only needs 3 more points to win. And because I've got my mind right, I've won. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So somebody what strongly believes in the power of your mind. And when I play badminton, trust me, I don't believe the game is over until it's actually over, until you could be on 20 and only need one more point left to win. And I still believe I can win. And that might be just the naivety of me. Do you know what I mean? But the reason why I believe that so much is because I've done it.
Yes, and that's it.
I've got witnesses to say that I've done it. The certain brothers what I play with, what they can tell you now categorically that together in doubles badminton, we've done that to other opponents.
Yeah.
So I see it as, you have to apply that to life, innit? Like, why can't I apply that same thing to anything else what I do?
Yeah, man. I think you're right there. The mind has to be right, and that's what we have to do. That's what I say. Sometimes the brain needs washing, for real.
Yeah. So people need to forget about the score, forget about we've been mashed up, forget about that it's 18-0, forget about that. You know what I mean? And just get your head right, and we can still win this thing.
Definitely, brother.
All right, let's see what's next now. Dubai. Yes, unfortunately, I think there's still madness going off to this day.
Yes, there is.
I think
when the other day there's youth still getting killed by other youths. So, like he says, it's that self-hate. I think it goes back to the self-hate. Do you know what I mean? If you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else.
And do you know what's mad about it? I feel like people that go places and do things, they should get on because they've got a camaraderie. So what do I mean by that? I mean, like, I watched the Olympics over there. I don't know if everybody was watching the Olympics, but like, for example, they were saying like the skateboarders, even though they all come from different parts of the world, they had a camaraderie because they all love skateboarding. Like they've got that in common.
Yeah.
So that is like a ground of respect, what they're building a friendship upon. Do you know what I mean? The basis is the skateboarding, and then that's what they build the friendship upon. And when you go to a lot of the other, what do you call them? You know, heats or competitions, it's the same thing. When we go to the BMX ones, they've got a camaraderie because they all love BMX, and all the boat racer ones, they all friends because they all race boats. So I make that point to say that, like, for black people, the thing what astonishes me is you always want to kill somebody what looks just like you. Like, it should be the other way around. You've got so much in common with this guy that you two should really be friends. Like, it should be more of a, you love hip hop and I love hip hop, and you just like this and I just like this. So surely there must be some kind of like basis there what we could build a respect from. But instead, people just want to, I don't know, act nuts.
Like this is like the why, because like for the statistics on this side, it's horrible. Do you know what I mean?
Horrible.
So it's, and obviously now this was then, and obviously this is even more so now. And this is obviously one of the reasons why you did your rant, because fed up of our youngsters. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily, we're not saying personally we're fed up of our personal child, but all these children could be our children. And that's the problem. Any one of these that are dying, any one of these that are committing the offences could be any one of our children. And it's lives of families that are shattered. And it's our lives and our families and our communities that are shattered because of it. And nobody really wins. Yeah, nobody wins. So we have, like,
nobody wins.
We have to change the mindset, or try to help the youngsters change the mindset so that they're not doing this, and that they find that there's other things. And as you say, it's more common ground than uncommon.
You've got a lot in common, so much in common. And what's worse is, I mean, we've all been to things like Carnival and, you know, places where a lot of black people congregate and they have a good time. And it's fantastic. We love it. And obviously, if people who had things in common was to come together in this way, then it'd just be a much better time. Like, it'd be great. Wicked. Do you know what I mean? But because people come with their violence and their bad mind and again, it's a lot of ego in it, because ultimately, I don't know if people realize this, but when you put someone down, it says a lot about your personal mental state, doesn't it? Like, why do you feel the need to be above other people? If does that make sense?
It's kind of an insecurity, isn't it, within the self?
Yeah. So why you can't just come into place with peace and love and good intentions for everybody, I don't really know. And maybe that's some of the issues what we're gonna have to unpick with people. But I do know it starts with conversation. Like, this is the whole reason. This is another reason why we started the podcast, right? Is because we did a lot of meetings and we did a lot of discussions and we did a lot of research, and we basically come to the conclusion that we cannot get unity from the community until we start to have discussions. Like, how are you going to be close to people that you don't even talk to? How are you going to get people on side and all singing from the same hymn sheet when you don't talk to people? And if you keep staying over there in your little pocket of Sheffield and I keep staying over there in my little pocket, and we never actually come together and speak. And again, what I tend to find is when I go over to that pocket over there and I go over to that pocket over there, you're all saying the same thing. Again, we've got a lot in common. But you're just not bringing it all underneath the one table, underneath the one roof. And a lot preventing that is ego. Because another thing, what I've noticed amongst black people, especially Sheffield, is they all want their independence. Like, no black people really want to work with other black people. In fact, it's almost seen as weakness if you go to other black people and you have to ask them for money or ask them for help or ask them for anything. It's more of a like, why aren't you standing on your own too?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. It is. I agree. We don't like to ask each other for help. It's like we feel that if we're going to ask another brother for help, he's going to look down on us, or we've got too much pride, or so it is once again, we have to start, like it says, we have to start communicating with each other, talking, sharing, helping each other. And it's not just a financial help, it's a mentally, physically, all of this. We have to be in communication, like it says, mainly with each other, so that we can grow and progress. Because it's not as this quote is what you put up, it really takes a community to raise children. No matter how much money one has, nobody can do it well alone. And it's the bedrock security of community that we and our children need. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better.
And everybody needs community. And I think the thing is, I think we've become a bit selfish now. So because everybody's got their own little pocket, so like people have their own little communities. You know, they've got the community of friends and they've got their own children and obviously they've got their family and they're happy with that.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So they're thinking, oh boy, I'm in a business about the world and you know, really business about the bigger community, because my personal life is cool.
Yeah.
I've got my kids, I've got my friends, I've got my family.
Yeah. I don't need no new friend.
I don't need no new friends. And I don't want to hear all this unity talk. And it's selfish mentalities like that, because I'm actually an empathetic person, like what you said the other day. Even when somebody gets gets hurt or murdered, and it's not my relative or friend or somebody that I know, that still hurts me deeply.
Yeah.
It's still something that I don't want to see. And it's still something that, like, I can only imagine what the parents of these poor children and what the family of these poor children are going through and how they must feel. And I just feel like, you know, if there's something that can be done to help prevent that, then I would definitely join in to try and help prevent that, even though it's not my kid.
Yeah, and that's it on both sides. Because I remember when I was a child, I could be talked to by elders. I wouldn't want an elder to come and tell me off, because if that gets back to my parents, it's problems. Yeah. Now, in truth, us as adults, we're afraid to talk to the picnic. We're afraid to dress the children up or the youth up and tell them, yo, you can't be doing that. What are you doing? You know your parents. Because we feel that they've got no respect, they've got no manners, and basically we're like, forget about it. A lot of us. It's like, I'll just stay away from that. I don't even want to get involved in that. I don't want to even risk it.
Yeah, don't want no trouble, don't want no smoke.
Yeah.
And that's why we leave them down there in bad man corner. And that's why the bad man corner just gets worse and worse and worse, because there's nobody there to actually intervene or say a
until
word.
one day it's like, all right then, it's like the Spider-Man movie, yeah. When Spider-Man gets his powers, yeah, and then he's doing the wrestling thing, innit, and then the wrestling thing gets robbed, yeah, and he thinks, oh, forget it, the guy, you know, I'm going to stand back and leave him, yeah. He leaves him, the guy runs off, and then subsequently he ends up shooting his uncle, innit, and killing his uncle. Yeah. So these times now he's thinking, well, maybe if I had intervened, that wouldn't have happened. And that's the same situation what potentially can happen to us who's standing on the sidelines. Yeah. We're standing on the sidelines, or it's not our kid, I'm not getting involved, until it comes to the time when it is your child or somebody that you know. And then when it happens, you're going to be calling out and wanting help and wanting community and thinking, where is all this? So prevention to me has always been better than the cure.
Always better than cure. And plus, that's what I'm saying. You got to be able to see it coming, because that's another thing what's ignorant about people. Like, they'll sit down and they'll think, man, it is sad, but it's not my kid. Yeah, it's not your kid tonight. Yes. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But you're not visioning the future. Like, your kid goes out, you know. and like any of our kids, your kid's not bulletproof. Like, your kid can get hurt just like anybody else's kid. So if you can see that trend or that pattern happening outside, then you're supposed to be able to think, hold on a minute. Like, I don't want my kid getting caught up in this in the future, or any trippiness like this in the future. Do you know what I mean? Because the way how it is today, like, your kid technically don't even have to go in the wrong places. Like, your kid could just get on the wrong bus. Yep. Because I don't know about you, but I know I've been in that situation before, and I've seen situations that I've been on both ends of that. I've been on the end where the person's got on the bus. Yeah, no, I've been on the stage where the wrong person's got on the bus and they really don't want to see me and my friends because it means bad news for you. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I've been on the bus myself when it's like, oh no, I can't believe these people are on here. Jesus Christ. Yeah. It's close. Do you see what I mean? So people seem to think that, oh, well, my kid don't hang around with them lot, so no, I'm all right, me. I don't need to worry about stuff like that. Like, does your kid catch a bus? Does your kid go town? does your kid?
Yeah, you know what I mean? This is it. This is the reality. And there's also that's it. And there's also that chance that there's that mistaken identity. There's that, I thought you were somebody else. Do you know what I mean? Or you look like that person. Do you know what I mean?
Or you've been riding with my man.
Yeah, so all of these things. So there is really and truly, as a parent in the community, there is no standing on the sidelines. Do you know what I mean? There is no, or you shouldn't, from my view, no parent in the community should be willing to stand on the sideline from both parts, because whether it's your child on the receiving end or if it's the child giving, it's still lives mash up on both ends.
I know. And then you know what's more hypocritical? This is what's more hypocritical now, Gav. Yeah. The funerals of these poor victims, right? We all go to funerals and we all see families devastated, and somebody always gives the speech, you know, to say, come on now, man. Enough's enough. We've got to put a stop to this. And everybody's in the crowd, you know, we're all emotional and everybody's like, I true, man, I true. And yeah, man, for real. And then tomorrow we go back to the same bad man trippiness. Man going back Pan Road, man going back for him strap, man going back for him blade. business as usual. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah.
even if you're a victim, you're gonna do the same thing, aren't you? You're gonna be making a plea to the community and to the wider world to stop this. And they're gonna do what's been done to all of the other people, what's done it before. You just get ignored.
Very true.
Do you know what I mean? People are gonna say, yeah, it's true, but nah. Which is dread, really, to be honest with you. It really is, because I'm one of them people what thinks one funeral is too many. Like, I've been to people's funeral and it's killed me that much that I'm like, I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to have to attend another one. I don't want to have to see no more families like this. But for some people, I guess they really just don't business.
Yeah. So on to this next slide where it's about, see the breakdown of the Black community. In order to maintain slavery, it began with the breakdown of the Black family, which is key for me. Yeah, men and women were not legally allowed to get married because you couldn't have that kind of love. It might get in the way of economics of slavery. Your children could be taken from you and literally sold down the river. Yeah. So when we look at like potential causes, I'd say the breakdown of the family is, yeah, the disrespect, I'll put it, of the Black man in the household, and also the unappreciativeness of the Black woman in the household. Yeah. So both of them two things, yeah, combined, yeah, doesn't mix for a good upbringing for a child.
No.
Yeah. So for me, that is a potential cause. And with the slavery thing, it's like this, yeah. It seems that we've got a lot of Black women, and not all, but a lot of Black women that you hear the stereotypical thing, what class Black man, what class this, that, the other, rare. But that may have been the case a while back. But when I hear that talk, I think to myself, well, I can name 10 Black men off the top of my head that are not workless, that are family orientated, that love their children and are being around for the children. Yeah. And so that stereotype of Black men not wanting to be around for their kids or not being there, it needs to be, in my opinion, needs to be shattered. Don't get me wrong, not every Black man. Yeah. Not every Black man, but it's the same in all cultures. Yeah. But for us, we seem to, like I said before, we seem to have a thing tend to focusing on the negatives all the time in our community. We don't focus on the good things. And I think that's where we look at potential causes of why our community is where we are. These are parts of it, not all of it, because there's many, many, many reasons for why we find ourselves at the back of the line. Yeah. But not. Yeah. So for me, I would say that family is a big thing, and family means community. So that breakdown.
To be honest, this is a topic we have to do a separate podcast for this topic, because this is a very big topic, and we couldn't just cover it in 5 minutes. So you know what I mean. I don't want to say anything about men or women, but what I will say is the family issue is very important to me.
Yeah.
On a personal note, and it's actually a lot of the inspiration behind me making that rant and behind me having this organization, because family to me personally is the backbone to everything. And that's not even about race, because I've studied this topic, on a scholarship level. I've studied this topic because, like I said, because it's personally important to me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what I found is that everything that adults do is from child trauma.
Yeah.
It's the things what you experience in your upbringing. And I suppose a parent or parents' job / role is to reduce the amount of trauma as much as they possibly can. Obviously, you can't wrap your kid in a bubble and you can't protect them from everything, but you are definitely not supposed to be traumatizing your kids or exposing your kids to trauma.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? That's your role as a parent. Now, a lot what in the modern day people don't realize is that like families splitting up is very traumatizing for kids. And one parent being absent is extremely traumatizing for kids. It's like yin with no yang or yang with no yin. So we trivialize it these days. Like families can break up and kids can split up and then be like, oh, yeah, oh, them two done. Oh yeah, that's how it go. But it needs more than that, because it's not even about the adults. Forget about the adults. Nobody cares about the adults. It's the children what suffer. And if anybody uses their right mind and their right intelligence, they will know that what children need is a healthy home environment where mom and dad are both working together for the betterment of the children.
Yes.
And if you're not aiming for that, which I did say in my rant originally, that like in this culture, we don't really promote that. And we don't really promote families. Like a lot of us have got baby mothers and a lot of us have, made certain errors without really thinking about what you're doing. Like why you brought this kid into the world for? Just for you to
say you've got a kid.
Yeah, or just for you to get off and go back to your business and let the kid have to drag up and struggle up by himself. Or, you think you're giving your little donations every month. Oh, I give him £100 a month. Like, look.
Yeah,
it's a deep topic, but we need to discuss that one on a different level.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, man, I'd agree with that. I agree with that. So where are we on to now? So part of Unity Project and what we're aiming for is to obviously raise aspirations, and we're aiming to do that by a few things, doing a few outreach projects. We're wanting people with talents and role models, positive role models, professionals, people who do things to join us, people from the education system, teachers, scholars, to join us, because one thing that we are as Unity Project, we're not looking to separate, we're looking to unite. So it doesn't matter what you're doing or what part of the industry or sector of the industry you are, from your part of the community. We want you to be part, we want to be part of you, and we would like you to be part of us. And we want to push and promote and do everything what we can to help you reach your full potential. And in doing so, we will also reach our potential in helping others. So for the aspirations, the outreach, the showcase and the education, and also we're going to be doing community building, which, as is in the name, it's about unity. And within that, we've got this reasoning and discussions, which is going to be these podcasts, along with other things, flicks and chats, what we're going to be promoting and doing also. So we want in the community to really get involved. We've got a website, we're on social media. So we're wanting everybody to get in contact with us, be part of it, because it's us and you that can build us. For me,
I can't agree more. Like, well said, Gav. Well said. I don't think there's much more I could add to that, except for we do need volunteers. So anybody who's actually interested. I know some people have emailed me and sent me DMs, messages and stuff, and I've said, I'll get back to you. And I apologize, I haven't got back to you, but trust me, seize this opportunity, because we still need the help and we still need more people on board. And eventually, I suppose what we want is like a cooperative of people, because, right now we've only got a few things that we're working on, but we want more things in the future. And I suppose eventually, if we had the whole community on our side, then we'd need to be offering everything that community can offer and everything that community needs.
Yeah. And
eventually, as you said earlier, down the line.
Yep. And as you said earlier, the only limit, basically what we have, is the limit we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
And so as Unity Project Sheffield, we haven't got no limits, because we don't believe in limits. We just believe in going forward and progression.
And we've got everybody what everything needs. Like, we've got teachers, we've got lawyers, we've got we got doctors, we got accountants, we got secretaries, this the HR, any job you can think of, it's in the black community somewhere.
Yeah, and that's why, as you were saying before, we can't be looking at others for help. We're looking at ourselves. Yeah, we're not asking the opponent for handouts. We're asking ourselves for handouts. And when we say ourselves, we're talking to the community. We're talking to everybody who has something to offer. And believe it or not, yeah, a lot of people may not even think they've got nothing to offer, but you'll be surprised at what you have got to offer.
Exactly. Yeah? Even if it's just your time or your whatever. Yes. Yeah. And plus, never underestimate the power of caring, because one of the main problems that we have currently is people just don't care. Like I was saying about the empathy for others and just certain things, like, you know, we're living in that type of world where it's like what you said, nobody cares about, you know, terminal heart failure until they get it, or until somebody in their family gets it, and then all of a sudden they're bothered now. But you shouldn't really take that for you to care, if you know what I mean. Caring is an underestimated thing, I would say, to be fair.
Yeah, man, I like this one as well. Yeah, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I think we as a people, as a community, we've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, and like lying to ourselves, yeah, that there's something different's going to happen, yeah. And as it says in the next one, it's time to break that cycle. It's time to heal. It's time to grow. And we can only do that is by, as Michael Jackson says, facing the man in the mirror. Yeah. And
but I think people are waiting for a leader or something.
Yeah, but everybody's their own leader. Yeah, for me. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We always can look for inspiration and look for like-minded people, but we can only affect things from ourselves. We can't control other people. So, like I said, I refer back to Michael. If you want to make a change, you got to start with yourself, isn't it? Look at what you can do as an individual, yeah, and then you might find somebody who's collectively minded on the same wavelength, and you pull together, so that one thing that you can do now becomes double and triple, and so it goes on. But like I said, nobody isn't useless. Everybody's got some form of something to bring to the table, yeah. So that's what we want to do. We want people to come to the table because it's time, like I said, it's time for us to grow. It's time for us to progress. Yeah.
Most definitely, bro. Most definitely. And I was just saying that to be facetious, you know what I mean? But I know it's time for us to be active, but I'm just saying some people are literally waiting for somebody else to do it all, like you said. And I don't think people actually fully aware of the concept. Like if you don't do anything, then nothing will be done.
Yeah.
So you're waiting on something, but the universe is actually waiting on you.
Yeah. Well, just for another example, you could be sat in your house, yeah, no money, nothing, yeah, and you're sat in your house, yeah. Guess what? You stay in your house, you're not going to get no money. Nothing's going to change. But you get up, walk out your door, you don't know what is going to be around the corner, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just on a simple analogy, yeah. And that could change. So, and that's it. Just something as simple as that can make a big difference. And that's all we want. We don't want nothing major from the community. We just want what you can do, and we'll do all we can do to better ourselves and grow, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Don't know about you, but I enjoyed that one, Gav.
Yeah, it was good. I'd like to thank everyone who's actually going to watch it, listen to it, yeah, and take notes of it. And I'd encourage everybody, yeah, to contribute. And that, when I say contribute, I'm not talking financially, but always willing to take donations, as we are, because we're for you and we're part of you. So we'll put in our time, we'll put in our effort, we'll put in whatever we can put in, but we're only going to grow with the community. That's all we're going to do. So anybody who's got any skills, anything what they feel that they can offer to us to benefit the community, please either go to the website, hit us up on our social media platforms. Yeah, we've got Instagram, we're on Facebook, So hit us up on there, Unity Project Sheffield. Our webpage is unityprojectsheffield.org. So go and have a look. There's a few things up on there about what we do. You can read up on us. But this podcast, we're going to be having these maybe monthly. And we're going to be hopefully having discussions interactive with yourself live with people from the community about topics, what's happening and what affects us. And so that's where we're going to be going and heading forward with this podcast. So I'm glad that people have listened, and I'm glad that people have listened to the end if you have. Yeah. And hopefully stay tuned for the next one. Kev, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being. It was good, man. It was good
Blessings.
to discuss
Pleasure,
these things.
sir.
Yeah. And we'll
Yes,
see
sir.
we'll see each other soon.
See you on the other side, bro. Thank
Let's
you.
go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed.
Thanks.
Bless.
Bye.